Good morning, good day to all of you. I'm very happy to come back to another video. So today we are in a video more practical. So I really encourage you to take the manual with you because the manual is much more detailed regarding the written part. So I hope you hear me well because I have changed my microphone from the last time. So I try to speak loud. And as usual, I have my prompt, and because I take lots of notes and I don't want to miss anything to share with you. So sometimes if you see my eyes, um, which are a bit reading and not straight to the camera, it's because I have my notes. So community engagement and communication for food waste prevention, practical module. It's really to give you some framework to help you to organize some events such as awareness campaigns or workshops. For example, we will see how action is important. It's great to think, it's great to have some goals, but we'll see um, how to put some measurable goals, how to transform the goals into action, and how to check, have some indicators to know what we did good and what we need to improve. Okay, so here are the learning outcomes. It's much more what I just said: how to build a campaign, how to have structure educational initiatives, how to target the people, how to monitor the tools to improve our behavioral change. And you will see as well how to have all the layers to be very professional and expert. From awareness to behavioral change. So, um, behavioral science shows that knowledge alone rarely modify routine practices. So, as well, because when we want to change our behavior, we can have some constraints such as time, infrastructure, or the norms, for example. So it's not that easy to change. And it's important to know that the knowledge is very important to gain the information, but then we have to turn the knowledge in practice. Otherwise, we can have less retention and less engagement. So action is the key. So I know I already said that a lot, but that action is the key. But it's true. According to me, it's really true, and we will see how to do it. Um, as well, all the practitioners should focus on practical feasibility to support sustainable changes. Um, so, yes, the manual as well shows how to align the initiatives with the enabling conditions. Sometimes we have to think about the initiatives we want to do and reflect how to transform in action. So defining the target behavior starts sometimes with how to set the goal. And I like the acronym SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Because if you say, for example, my goal is to raise awareness, this is an example. It's a good objective, but it's not specific. It's difficult to measure it. And if we want to raise the awareness of all the people in the planet, do you think it's really achievable? So try to find always goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Time bound, it means, for example, within 2 weeks, within a month, or a year. Okay. Uh, on this slide, this is the most important thing that we have to remind. Structured, sorry. Yes, structured design cycle for educational initiatives. Um, so regarding the operational phases, you have to have five layers. So the first one is the context analysis. The second is put the objective, the activity design, the delivery, and the evaluation. So for the context analysis, it's really important to set the context, to know what's going on in the area. I want to put my expertise to help the people to change. Okay, so for example, the food waste prevention, this is the context. I want to organize, for example, a workshop to help the people to be more aware and more in action to into the waste prevention. Then put a clear, smart objective. What is the definition of your objective? Then you have to design the workshop. What are my goals? What are the messages I want to share? How I'm going to put me in action to organize this workshop? It's an example, huh? And then how I will deliver it. For example, this workshop will take place on that day, on that date, and I, I, I find, for example, an infrastructure or a company which can welcome us to do there. How I will. Do I have to write a report? Do I want to organize some slides? Do I want to organize some exercises, practical exercises, how I'm going to deliver this message, and then evaluation and adjustment. What I did good, what I did wrong, how I can improve myself for the next time. This is really important, okay? Because the aim when we are launching that kind of workshops is to do more, and we always have to improve ourselves. So then designing activities that trigger practice. So experiential learning research shows that change strengthens when participants actively rehearse practices rather than passively receive information. Of course, if the participants just think about and receive all the information, that's very good, but it goes into the brain, but it doesn't mean that then they will put them in action. Okay, so that's why I really insist to always do some exercises, practice at the same time that the information is arriving, because the passive information reduces constantly the retention. So if you want to get engagement of your participants, it's really important to do exercises and practice. Practice. As well, the practice emphasizes that well-designed activities bridge the gap between the intention and the action. Yes, it's how I get the information and what is the bridge that I have to take to put then actions. As well, when you organize workshops, for example, it's an example, you have other people, so the collective is really important because you can gain information from other peers, and you can share your own information to the other. It's the collective intelligence, how we are going to do this objective all together, okay? Because you can get some feedbacks, you can share your own feedbacks. So the more you're sharing and the more you receive the feedbacks and the more you increase the sustainability of the process. Okay, this visual show the experiential learning cycle. Okay, structuring effective workshop. So let's say that we have pedagogical as pillars, such as, for example, practice demonstration, the collective reflection, and how the commitment, how people commit themselves into the action. So, for example, it's workshop where participants are really in action and they participate a lot. It's more related to um, experiential actions, much more than, for example, passive information. Um, you can give, for example, tools, planning simulation, audit exercises. Those are examples, but I really encourage you to create your own practice. And yes, the workshop template includes as well small group discussion and barriers to reinforce the social norm. So, for example, you can organize a huge workshop with 50 people, try to organize a small group that will reflect on one subject. For example, you take the food waste prevention and then you design all the workshop. I want to talk about this subject, this subject, this subject, and this subject. And then you create a small group and they all think about one subject, and then you can share all together. And you can as well add exercises, audit, because yes, the aim is to mix as well all the ideas and mix as well all the energy of the group to make sure that they can share uh, from peer to peer. This is really, really interesting. I always work like that with the groups, and the results are always amazing. Designing awareness campaigns that influence behavior. So you will see that the manual states evidence constantly shows that information alone does not generate sustainable behavioral change. Okay, so awareness is one thing, action is another thing. That's why I really insist on that. The norm-based framing increases adoption, so it explains the norm-based communication works because individuals align behavior with perceived social standards. As well, the campaign process includes define the specific behavior and providing a clear call to action. The call to action is an invitation to the participant to call to action, say, do you want to collaborate with us on this project? Are you ready to share your expertise with us? In which way, for example? So, of course, avoid guilt-based communication, because people, when they feel guilty, they can be blocked in their action because they say, okay, I don't do that well, so um, I don't want to do it anymore, because and they feel guilty. So it's not really a good energy. So instead of having the guilt based communication, try to open the door and um, and give some information for them, such as, okay, it's okay for the moment, you don't know how to change it or how to do it, so you are at the right point here in this campaign or in this workshop, and we will teach you, we will help you to change. Okay. Building a coherent multi-layer strategy. So all the layers are different. So, for example, the layer number one is a public campaign to raise visibility and recruit participants, um, because it avoids as well to have isolated initiatives and open the doors to have much more participants. The layer number two is workshops providing practical rehearsal and reflection, because what we want is the collaboration through all the people. That's what we wish when we organize some workshops. So the more practice, the more exercises we give, the better it will be to increase the engagement. The layer number 3 relies on the follow-up of the communication, reminders, and community sharing, because without reinforcement, we can take the risk to have a short-term impact. And when we are organizing all those workshop campaigns, sometimes our objective is to get a long-term engagement, and long-term, yes, partnership with all the participants. Okay, so I repeat, public campaign to raise the visibility, um, organizing workshop with lots of practice, and layer 3 is really all the follow-up, to increase the reinforcement and as well to increase our implication into the workshop. Monitoring and evaluating behavioral change. So the evaluation has to start right at the beginning, okay? Because as you understood, when you are structuring campaign or an event or a workshop, we need to evaluate our expected right at the beginning. How we targeted people, for example, you have to do it at the beginning, not at the end of the campaign. If we did it well, if we found the right information, if we understood well all the ecosystem to know how we can target the people for that. So at the beginning. So the manual lists concrete indicators. So for example, those are examples, but you can duplicate to other workshops, for example. So I listed in the manual the waste quantity reduction, meal planning frequency, the storage adoption. Those are example, but the aim is to find your own indicators that can measure observable change of the behaviors. So all the tools, for example, include pre and post questionnaires, diaries, interviews, observation audits, and yes, qualitative indicators as well, the feasibility of the workshop or all the campaigns, for example. And the monitoring is framed as a strategic tool for refinement. So, for example, identify what you want to change, what are the barriers that are persisting, and how you can change, and what needs to be evaluated and modified to do it better the next time. Ensuring sustainability and long-term impact. So the more you repeat, the more you can increase the strength to be to make the people engage with you. Because sometimes if we share just one information, it's not enough. So we always, when we want to increase the behavioral change, we always have to repeat the same things. For example, me, I always repeat that we need to put us in action. This is something I repeat all the time because I know that if I repeat it all the time, people will at least remind it. The peer support increases the durability. This is really important because it recommends creating peer supports group and collective reinforcement mechanisms. For example, after a workshop, you can as well create a group on the social, for example, it can be a Facebook group or a WhatsApp group, because during the workshop, The people are inspired by the other, and when the workshop is over, sometimes we feel a bit alone at home with all the changes that we want to do. So sometimes if we can be involved into a group, we can ask questions, we can know what my friends are doing, how they do, and we can get support from the group. So this is, I love that. Really, I love creating small groups after a workshop. Embedding within the local governments or institutional support increases durability. Yes, sometimes you can ask some support from your institutions or your community, or check in your territories if you can get some institutional help, because they know how to put energy to create long-term impact projects. And as well, you can expand the project in a territory larger than it was defined at the beginning. So this is a great idea as well. And the last thing is shift from facilitator driven to participant driven. So yes, the manual indicates that initiatives should gradually move toward participant driven engagement and normalization of practices. So it's always very great when you have participants that are really engaged into the process, and then they come back with new ideas and they provide to the group, and they can provide as well to the facilitator who organized, for example, the campaign. They provide. So sometimes the change comes at the end from the ground, and it's not always to the facilitator to give all the solutions. So when we arrive at that stage, it means that the job is done, and this is great. Some key takeaways. Behavioral specificity determines effectiveness. Do not forget that the workshop must prioritize experiential practice. So learning by doing. The campaigns should use norm-based framing. So yes, I'm just reading. Yes, clear action and contextual relevance to influence the practice. So take again the framework that I explained at the beginning. The multi-layer strategy increase the durability, because yes, the 3 layers model, engagement, skill building, reinforcement, is really is designed to support the habit formation over the time. And evaluation strengthens the credibility and support continuous improvements and replication decision. So please go back to the manual, because you have approximately 12 pages that are written about this subject. It's really much more detailed on the manual, so please read it again. And if you have some questions, please, you can join me on my LinkedIn page, or you can as well email me. This is my email address, esther.schmidt.sxb@gmail.com. Or you can go on the Food Chase internet page, and if you have questions or remarks or suggestions, please do not hesitate to email me. I thank you very much. I'm very happy to share with you all this information, and I wish you a very great day. And we are still in touch for other video. Bye-bye.